It is I, Ronald Reagan, the uncommon voice for the common man, coming to you today live from the deadbeat and gay state of Ohio, where I am saddened to hear of the passing of that great conservative leader, Margaret Thatcher. Yes, she passed away today, and I am very saddened to hear about that. But what I thought I would do today for my loyal viewers is to compare and contrast what a great conservative leader Margaret Thatcher was as to the complete failure of our socialist benevolent dictator, the heap big Indonesian chief himself, Barack Obama, and his minions in the media. In case you haven't heard, in Obama's America on Friday, the shocking news was released where the worker participation ratio, which is how many people actually in this country have a job, is down to approximately 63.5% of people that can work actually have jobs. It is absolutely incredible that only 63.5% of the people in this country have jobs. Well, it's incredible as in the sense that in normalcy, in normal times it shouldn't be like that, but this is Obama's America, and 63.5% of the people with jobs also means that there's 36.5% of the people that don't have jobs. Now that is what I call progress. Get it? And on top of that, we hear the news that there are 8 million people in this country now. Well, actually, it's closer to 9 million people, 8.8 million to be exact, that are now receiving disability. 8.8 million people now receiving disability in the food stamp nation that Obama and these damn socialists / communists / Marxist Democrats have put upon us. So why wouldn't we be grieving the loss of a conservative leader like Margaret Thatcher? When you see what's going on in this country now, what I want to do for you right now is give you something that our good friends at MSNBC had to say in their little lean forward promotions. Now, this is this Melissa Harris Perry. I love them hyphenated names with these damn losers. Now, she, in one of her lean forward promotions, said this, quote, "We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had a private notion of children. Your kids is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective is a term for socialist or communist if you want to, notion of these are our children." Yes, Hillary people, we remember you too. It takes a village. But she went on. Quote, "So part of it is we had to break through our kind of private idea." So private, I guess, would be private sector as opposed to government sector is how I read that. That kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families, and recognize that kids belong to the whole community. Now let me just read this again. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. End quotation. Now that's what this Melissa Harris Perry, gee, I love them hyphenated names, thinks about our children. In other words, in Melissa Harris's parish, gee, I love them hyphenated names, come up with is basically they're not your children, they're the government's children. And that who knows best for what your children really need in life but our friends at the federal government. Now, that, my friends, is out and out communism, indoctrination, you name it, and there it is in very, very bold italics. So even you dumbasses that listen to these things that don't agree with me can figure out why people like me are people like me. But in honor of this occasion and this sad passing of Margaret Thatcher, I put this hat on. See this? This is the USS Reagan. Because Margaret Thatcher And Ronald Reagan didn't believe in this Marxist, communist nonsense that is being forced on us by the media and the Obama administrations and people like Melissa Harris hyphenated Perry, who's obviously her cornrows are way too tight and are strangling the flow of oxygen to her brain. Now, with that being said, let's compare and contrast some things that Margaret Thatcher had to say, because there is a great big difference in the two. Now, this is what Margaret Thatcher came, and she said this when she took office. This is what Margaret Thatcher said. Now compare this to all the things that you have heard from the Melissa Harris Perrys in the 5 years that Obama's been president, and contrast this to it. Quote, I came to office with one deliberate intent: to change Britain from a dependent to a self-reliant society. Get it? From a give it to me to a do-it-yourself nation. A get up and go instead of sit back and wait for it. In Obama's America, it's not so much sit back and wait as it is basically sit back and have it handed to you by the government. But as we all know, anybody with any brains understands what's going on is the Melissa Harris hyphenated Perrys seem to like in this country is that more people are dependent on the government. That's exactly what's going on here. These people are socialists. They are also Marxists. And if we don't wise up and start fighting back and do it soon, we are going to lose this country as the way that the Founding Fathers envisioned it, to become a nothing but a Marxist socialist welfare state that Obama, the Democrats, and the Melissa Harris hyphenated Perrys want for us. And if we don't start fighting back soon, we are going to all rue the day that this kind of nonsense goes on in this nation. Or, as Thatcher herself would tell you, quote, there is no week, nor day, nor hour, when tyranny may not enter upon this country, if people lose their supreme confidence in themselves and lose their roughness and spirit of defiance. Tyranny may always enter, and there is no charm or bar against it. End quotation. And she is dead on right. And as soon as we do the right thing that she would expect us to do, as Ronald Reagan would expect us to do, and get up and fight this damn Marxist, Leninist nonsense that's being forced upon us, and restore this nation to its founding principles. And that's why I have my Grand Union flag up here with its cross of St. Andrew and St. George, in memory of the Iron Lady, who would be appalled to see what is happening in this country today and in her own country. It is absolutely unbelievable. So fight the good fight, and remember, it's never too late to end tyranny in this country if we do the right thing. Until next time, I say this to you now, over and out.